guys, good morning, early Sunday morning. I have a few tips that I want to share with you. And, I've heard from a couple of people, and I think that one of the most important things to really remember about mindfulness is that it's not about achieving sort of this perfect state. I mean, eventually, a different state of being where we can be present more fully, more of the time. To me, that's the goal. But I know that a lot of people, when they begin, actually, even if they've been doing it for a long time, practicing mindfulness, they sort of feel guilty, or they'll criticize themselves if they're not sort of immediately able to achieve that, state of calm. And I just want to remind everyone that that state of calm is not the practice of mindfulness. The practice of mindfulness is exercising that muscle and developing those skills to be able to sort of bring ourselves to that place of calm. And sometimes we don't really appreciate how completely busy and hectic our lives are, and the expectation to sort of just be able to sit in meditation and, sort of instantly clear our head and relax. That's a really unrealistic expectation. And mindfulness is a tool that we use so that we can bring ourselves eventually to a place where we can start to be less connected with our thoughts and less overwhelmed by our feelings. So I just want to, make that point again, that it's not about being sort of blissed out. It's a practice. It's challenging. It's an exercise. It's a mental exercise. It's an emotional exercise. So you don't do it well or do it badly. You do it or you don't do it. And when you don't do it, you want to just try to remember, okay, so I'm going to try to do it now. The purpose is not to feel badly about if we think that we're successful or not. So the other tip that I want to share is just really simply, like I'm sitting here with my cup of coffee, and that first cup of coffee in the morning is my favorite ritual, and I'm very fortunate because in the morning when I get up, I'm alone, there's no one to bother me. My cat sometimes, wants to be fed and wants to be held, but other than that, I have some quiet where I can just sip my coffee. And I wanted to sort of remind folks that often we'll be drinking either a very comforting, soothing, warm beverage, or sometimes we, have lots of people walk around with their little glass of water or their, bottle of water, whatever it is. And, they're very different sensations. So the water is cold and, for me, very invigorating. And the coffee is warm and soothing. In the morning, I need something warm and soothing to wake up, and not something sort of quick. That doesn't, I want to say, that doesn't jive with my personality. So, sipping the coffee, feeling the warmth of the cup in the palm of your hand, smelling, taking a deep breath. If you love the smell of coffee, you know what I'm talking about. That's being mindful right there, that moment. Sometimes that's all that we have, just that first sip of coffee in the morning to really fully engage and taste the coffee and feel the warmth of the cup. And then a lot of times we got to be like out the door. We don't have 10 minutes sometimes, or it feels like we don't have 10 minutes. So the last tip that I want to share with you is, this is one of my favorites. This is, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a beautiful little tub of M&Ms. And if you don't like M&Ms, you don't eat chocolate or sugar, you can use a raisin. But I'm going to show you something mindful eating. And this is something to help remember that you can really practice mindfulness anywhere. You don't need to be in a quiet, beautiful, serene setting. You can be at online at the supermarket. You can be in a stressful meeting at work. You can be, at a parent-teacher conference for your kids. You can be anywhere with other people and still be mindful and still bring your attention inward. So what this practice is that there's only one rule, and that is that you can't bite the M&M. So you want to take one M&M, and you can save the rest for later. You can have as many as you want after the exercise, but you take the one M&M, and you just, that's it, you put it in your mouth, and you don't bite it. Now, the way that I would do this at home is I might sit by myself and close my eyes and, just wait for the M&M to dissolve. But what I wanted to show you is that you can have the M&M in your mouth while you're talking to somebody and you're engaged with other things, because sometimes our attention is in different places, and mindfulness is about teaching us to bring our attention back to ourselves and to internal, so we can really be in our body. Tastes so good. I'm biting it. I'm biting it because I want to get to the end. So what I want you to do is grab some M&Ms, and when you have a minute, I want you to practice this sort of in a place by yourself before you do it out in the world when you're with other people doing other things. If you do have maybe a minute to just sit by yourself, where you can bring yourself into a meditation posture, and put the M&M in your mouth and slowly let it dissolve without biting it. I want you to then write down what the experience was like when you're done. When the M&M is dissolved, open your eyes and you're ready to go. But before you go, just take a moment to reflect. I think that you're going to find it very interesting, and I'm really curious to know what your experience is like. So I gotta go because I'm going on vacation, but let me know how things are going, and I wish you all the best.